Also at this hour, after a politically charged and equally tiring Saturday, political parties in Pakistan filed their nominations for the next Prime Minister. The joint opposition has nominated the PMLN leader, Shehbaz Sharif, as their prime ministerial candidate, while the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has floated the name of its vice chairman and former foreign minister, Shah Mahmood Qureshi. The Pakistan National Assembly will meet on Monday at 2 p.m. local time to elect the country's new leader, 2 days after former Prime Minister Imran Khan was ousted out of power. With less than 24 hours to go for the vote, both the PTI and the joint opposition have made stark statements. Opposition leader Sharif has said that the new cabinet will be formed in consultation with allies. He also promised a new era for Pakistan. The PTI, on the other hand, has called on its lawmakers to resign en masse if Sharif is elected as the new Prime Minister.
ये इससे ज़्यादा तौहीन आमेज़ पाकिस्तान के लिए क्या बात होगी कि एक फॉरेन इम्पोर्टेड हुकूमत, एक फॉरेन सेलेक्टेड हुकूमत पाकिस्तान के ऊपर इम्पोज कर दी जाए और शहबाज शरीफ जैसे शख्स को उसका सरबराह बना दिया जाए। लिहाजा कोर कमेटी की रिकमेंडेशन ये है कि वज़ीर-ए-आज़म इमरान खान को उन्होंने ये कहा है कि हमें असम्बलियों से मुस्ताफ़ी हो जाना चाहिए।
Even after ouster, former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has not given up. He is still claiming a foreign conspiracy to topple his government. Khan is scheduled to hold a protest in Islamabad later today. And ahead of the rally, Khan tweeted saying that Pakistan became an independent state in 1947, but the freedom struggle begins again against a foreign conspiracy of regime change. Imran Khan added, it is always the people of the country who defend their sovereignty and democracy. After trying everything in and outside the book, Imran Khan could not retain the Prime Minister's chair. He became the first Prime Minister in Pakistan to be unseated through a no-confidence vote. As the clock struck an hour past midnight, 174 members of the National Assembly voted in favor of the motion. In the 342-member House, opposition needed 172 to pass the resolution. PMLN's Ayaz Sadiq chaired the latter part of the session, and so he could not cast his vote, while the PTI dissenting members skipped the voting process. While the formalities to elect a new Prime Minister goes underway, the question that arises is, what's next for Imran Khan? Local reports suggest that the former Pakistan Prime Minister, along with his close aides, Shah Mahmood Qureshi and Fawad Chaudhry, have been put on the exit control list. That means they cannot leave Pakistan. Alongside sources from the Security and Federal Investigation Agency say that their immigration staff was put on high alert with a directive to stop any government official travelling abroad without a no objection certificate. The development in Pakistan has been historic, but at the same time has followed a set pattern of over 70 years. No Prime Minister in Pakistan has ever completed his 5-year tenure. And with Imran Khan, the spell continues. He tried to cling to power through unconstitutional means. He attempted to block the no-trust vote. He called on the president to dissolve the House. He even peddled a conspiracy theory. But all efforts were pointless. He was clean bowled by those who were once his close allies. And for more insight on this, we were joined earlier by Deputy Director and Senior Associate for South Asia at the Wilson Center, Michael Kugelman from Washington. And this is what he had to say.
Imran Khan has always projected himself as a populist political figure in Pakistan who has been able to channel the sentiment among many in the Pakistani public that essentially views U.S. policy as very dangerous, as very hostile, very suspicious. So I think that he was trying to play on that in his allegations of a U.S. plot to work with the opposition to oust him. He's basing his allegation on a cable that was put together by the outgoing Pakistani ambassador to the U.S., in which a senior U.S. official had complained and said some negative and unpleasant things about Imran Khan. And he did say, as I understand it, that relations with the U.S. would be better if he were to lose the no-confidence vote. But there was no indications from that cable that that meant that the U.S. was actually plotting to oust Imran Khan. It was a case of a leader or an official doing something that's quite common in a private conversation, that is to vent and to complain to someone else about the state of the relationship. So I think that Imran Khan may have been trying to capitalize on this longstanding suspicion of the U.S. and U.S. policy in Pakistan to take the evidence in that cable and blow it up into something much more sinister that, in my view, is at odds with the truth. I definitely do not think that Imran Khan is going to quietly disappear into the night. That's not his style. That's not his personality. That's not his politics. My sense is that he is, in the immediate term, going to call on his supporters to take to the streets and protest what happened to him. And he will, I think, continue to carry on with this narrative that he was removed because of the U.S.-sponsored plot. And that's that, he wants to do that to keep himself relevant and strong moving into the next election in Pakistan. We don't know when that'll be, but it'll probably be an election earlier than the next scheduled election, which is not until next year. So I think his idea is to keep rallying his base and to keep projecting this idea that he was the victim of a U.S.-sponsored plot to oust him. So he is definitely not ready for retirement. He is not going to step away. We'll be hearing a lot more about him in the coming weeks and months.
We are still on that, and our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik has sent us this report from Islamabad.
Well, change in strategy for Imran Khan, who vows to go for elections at all costs. His party says that, and that they have announced that they will be going for an en masse resignation from the National Assembly of Pakistan in case if Shehbaz Sharif is elected as the Prime Minister tomorrow. Tomorrow the voting for a new leader of the House will be held. The PTI has nominated Shah Mahmood Qureshi, whereas on the other hand, Shehbaz Sharif has been nominated as the candidate of the joint opposition. Having said that, the Imran Khan government has, the Imran Khan led side has also announced that they will be holding protests and demonstrations across the country against what they say is a foreign imported government, and they vow to continue this momentum until elections are held. What we have to understand is that this is a new narrative that is being built on the part of Imran Khan for one very reason, so that because Pakistan is scheduled to go for elections a year and a half from now in October 2023, and he would need some narrative or some talking point to happen on so that the masses get attracted to him and come out to vote for him. Anas Malik in Islamabad, Pakistan for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.